The pain of betrayal teaches you one brutal lesson, and once you learn it, you can never go back to who you were before, because betrayal doesn't just break your trust, it breaks your perception of people. Let me say something you already feel, but never say out loud. Betrayal doesn't come from strangers, it comes from the people you lowered your guard for, and that is what makes it unbearable. You don't just lose someone, you lose the version of yourself who believed they would never hurt you. There is a moment after betrayal that no one talks about. It is not the shouting, it is not the confrontation, it is the silence afterward, that empty, heavy silence where your mind keeps replaying everything, searching for a moment where you could have seen it coming. But the truth is, you didn't want to see it, and that is the real wound, because betrayal doesn't only hurt your heart, it changes the way you interpret reality itself. You start questioning conversations. You start analyzing kindness. You start doubting even the safest memories. And slowly, something inside you shifts permanently. You don't trust less. You trust differently, and this is where the brutal lesson begins to reveal itself. Not everyone deserves access to your softness. Not everyone who smiles at you is safe. And not every connection is meant to last. Stay with me, because by the end of this journey, you will understand why betrayal doesn't just destroy relationships, it rebuilds the way you see people forever. The moment trust dies quietly. It doesn't break loudly, it breaks silently inside you. Betrayal is rarely loud in the beginning. It starts small, a message left unanswered, a truth slightly twisted, a promise delayed, a feeling ignored, but your heart doesn't react immediately. It protects the image you built of that person, because humans are not rational when it comes to trust. They are emotional historians. They remember who someone was, not what they are becoming. And so you ignore the signs, you justify behavior, you rewrite explanations in your mind. You convince yourself that misunderstanding is more likely than betrayal. But somewhere deep inside you, something already feels different. That subtle shift you cannot name. Carl Jung once suggested that, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. And betrayal begins exactly there, in the unconscious denial of what you already know. Then, one moment changes everything. A truth is revealed, a lie is exposed, a hidden action comes to light, and suddenly, everything makes sense in reverse. You don't just feel hurt, you feel reorganized emotionally. Every memory starts to rearrange itself with new meaning. The smile you trusted now feels different. The words you believed now feel calculated. The comfort you once felt now feels like illusion, and in that moment, trust doesn't explode. It collapses quietly inside you, not because someone destroyed it, but because reality finally caught up with your denial. And this is where the first lesson begins. Trust is not broken by betrayal, it is revealed by it. The overthinking spiral after betrayal. The mind becomes a courtroom where you are both the victim and the judge. After betrayal, silence is never silent again, even when nothing is happening. Everything is happening inside your mind. You start replaying moments that once felt normal, but now feel suspicious. A conversation you didn't question before suddenly becomes evidence. A smile now feels like a mask. A delay in response becomes a hidden story your mind is desperate to decode. And this is where the spiral begins, not in the event itself, but in your interpretation of it. Your brain becomes a courtroom that never closes. You are the investigator, you are the victim, you are the judge, and the case is never finished. Nietzsche once said, "There are no facts, only interpretations." And after betrayal, your mind becomes trapped inside too many interpretations. You don't just think about what happened. You think about why it happened, when it started, how long it was going on, and what else you might have missed. Even peace starts feeling suspicious. Because betrayal doesn't just break trust in people, it breaks trust in your own judgment. You begin to question your ability to understand others. How did I not see it? That moment, was it already happening then? Was anything real at all? And slowly your mind starts doing something dangerous. It tries to rewrite the past to protect you from future pain, but in doing so, it traps you in endless emotional loops. You stop living in the present moment. You start living inside mental reconstructions of what could have been true. And the worst part, the person who betrayed you is no longer the only source of your pain. Your own thoughts become part of it, because now, even when they are gone from your life, they are still alive in your mind. And this is the second brutal lesson betrayal teaches you. The real prison is not what people did to you. It is what your mind keeps doing after they are gone. The emotional detachment phase. You don't stop caring. You stop showing what caring cost you. After betrayal, something quiet but powerful begins to happen inside you. You start pulling back, not all at once, not dramatically, but slowly, like a door closing without a sound. You still smile, you still talk, you still function in the world, but something essential has shifted. You are no longer fully available emotionally. It is not that you don't feel anymore. It is that you no longer trust what feeling leads to, because once you've been betrayed by someone you gave access to your inner world, your emotions start behaving differently. They become guarded, measured, controlled. You begin observing people instead of opening up to them. You listen more, but reveal less. You connect, but only halfway. It feels like maturity, but underneath, it is self-protection. Carl Jung once said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." But betrayal forces a different kind of transformation first. You become who you need to be to never feel that pain again, and so you build emotional distance, not because you are cold, but because closeness now feels like risk. You stop expecting consistency from others. You stop assuming good intentions automatically. You stop believing that emotional safety is guaranteed, and slowly, you begin to prefer solitude over uncertainty. At first, this feels like strength. You tell yourself, "I don't need anyone." But deep down, it is not independence. It is emotional recalibration. Because betrayal teaches your nervous system something unforgettable. Too much trust once cost me everything. And so you adjust. You become harder to read, harder to reach, harder to hurt. But there is a hidden price, because the same walls that protect you from pain also limit how deeply you can feel joy. And this is where the transformation becomes irreversible. You are no longer the person who trusts easily, but you are also no longer the person who feels freely. And that is the third brutal lesson betrayal leaves behind. To protect your heart, you may also distance it from life itself. The final truth, what betrayal actually teaches you. The lesson is not about them, it was always about you. After everything fades, after the overthinking slows down, after the emotional distance becomes your new normal, something unexpected happens. Clarity, not the kind that comes from answers, but the kind that comes from acceptance. You start to realize something uncomfortable but deeply liberating. Betrayal was never just about the person who hurt you. It was about what you ignored, what you tolerated, what you hoped would change, and what you refused to see because love made you blind to patterns. And this realization doesn't come suddenly, it comes quietly, like a truth that has been sitting beside you the entire time, waiting for you to be ready. You begin to understand that betrayal doesn't only reveal the character of others, it reveals the depth of your own expectations. And that is where transformation truly begins. Stoic philosophy teaches that we cannot control others, only our perception of them. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." After betrayal, this stops being philosophy and becomes survival wisdom. You stop placing your emotional stability in people who are temporary. You stop building trust too quickly. You stop confusing familiarity with safety. But something deeper also changes. You no longer look at betrayal as pure destruction. You see it as exposure. It exposed illusions. It exposed blind trust. It exposed the parts of you that needed strengthening. And slowly, something new begins to grow inside you. Not coldness, not bitterness, but awareness, a sharper understanding of people, a calmer understanding of yourself, a quieter but stronger sense of emotional boundaries. And here is the final truth. Betrayal does not make you heartless. It makes you conscious. You stop giving your entire self away to what has not earned it. You stop mistaking intensity for loyalty. You stop confusing presence with permanence. And even though it hurts to admit, you needed it, not because pain is good, but because ignorance about people is more dangerous than heartbreak itself. And when you finally reach this stage, you don't go back to who you were before. Because that version of you trusted blindly, this version of you trusts wisely. And that is the brutal lesson betrayal teaches you. Not everyone deserves the access you once gave freely. So if betrayal has ever found you, don't rush to become the old version of yourself again. That version didn't know what you know now. Instead, become someone better, not colder, not harder, just wiser. Because in the end, betrayal doesn't just break relationships. It builds discernment, and once you gain that, you never see people the same way again.